Okay guys, so this is part 2 of my Philippines trip, and this is where it starts to get exciting for me. As you can see, we're getting into some fun stuff here. It looks like my guide lost his way a little bit there, but going through the mud and starting to really feel like you're riding a dirt bike. And I remember this part very well, and there's a few times you can hear me in my helmet kind of saying how much fun I'm having. But a few things I'm going to point out. I'm going to slow down a couple times here just to point some things out. So first thing here, it's not uncommon to see animals like this and ride right by them, where that would never or very rarely happen in the States. So that always kind of blew my mind. That was the first time I saw that. And some things I realized, some realizations I had. You know, we're riding through people's backyards. We're riding through their house, basically. I mean, this is somebody's hangout where they live. There's a guy with a water well right there pumping for water. This is where they live, and we're just kind of casually riding through there for recreation, and it's just a weird feeling, guys. It's a crazy feeling that people live here, and it's so far from the norm from what we're used to. I know I hate to sound like a broken record. I know I'm saying that a lot, but that was the recurring theme here. It's very common to see political posters on walls like you just saw there. And actually, the second time that I came back to the Philippines was during an election, and there were posters on almost every hard surface, every building. In jungles, there's political posters for every side, and it's crazy. It's just different. It's just mind-blowing. I love it. I just love the culture. I started to really have some fun. You can see the guide in front of me was going a little quicker than my comfort because of all the obstacles and people, and as you can see, they're used to this. But right coming up here, you're going to see an obstacle that's moving that I almost took out. And it happens. I got a little happy here with a wheelie, and then right about here, I almost took out a poor little chicken there. And I actually saw that happen later in the trip. One of the guides actually, a chicken ran right through his rear wheel, and it didn't end well for the chicken, but probably they're just going to make dinner with it and move on. But we kind of just kept going. It's one of those things, I guess. But these concrete roads were pretty common throughout our excursion, and we're obviously on dirt bikes and we wanted to do dirt bike things, but these roads were pretty useful and very windy, and it was like a common thing to see. Whereas in the United States, we use totally different materials. We use asphalt mostly, and you're gonna see, I guess this would be asphalt here, but you're going to see a lot of those type of roads. And also, from what I understand, there's no Department of Transportation, so you're not going to see a lot of the roads being fixed. And if there's potholes, there's potholes. Right here, just a crowd of people hanging out, kind of used to people riding through, and nobody's upset, nobody's yelling at us. At one point, I got lost in someone's backyard and couldn't find where I was going, and she came out and just pointed me in the right direction and smiled, and we went on our way, and it was cool. There's a lot of neat bridges, a lot of neat little things like that. There's a bunch of water crossings that I hope I can get into at some point. I have to apologize, guys. This is the first time that I've gone through this footage in detail, and I'm kind of doing it with you. Here is an example of a scooter that's really not made for this, and I think that was an older woman on a mountain bike, which again, just living life, loving life, having fun, and no worries. But typical weather here is gorgeous, hardly any clouds in the sky, beautiful, windy road. It is paradise. It is literally paradise. and I'm just living my best life, riding the bike, enjoying life. And you know, the more that I watch this, man, the more I really want to go back. I really do. I want to go back and do this again because this was so fun. So here, just look at this. Look at this bridge. This just blows my mind. You know, we zip over things like this. I'm glad to have the ability in this video to actually pause and kind of reflect on everything and just reflect on the beauty in this world that we take for granted so often. But this is just mind-blowing, guys. Like I said, I procrastinated for years and I just never really thought I would go through this footage. I do apologize that there's some wind noise. I'm gonna leave this audio in this time. I didn't the first video. I kind of let the wind noise ruin it, so I just muted it. But I feel like it gives you more of a feeling of what it was like, and I want to share the experience. That's what this is all about, is sharing this experience. You know, there's just so much here that I cannot explain on a video, and I can't share that with you unless you were physically there. There were so many times that I just wished my kids could see this. I wish my wife could see this. It's not really something that she'll ever do, I don't think. It's pretty far out her comfort zone, but it is truly an experience. And here you have some kind of a makeshift, I guess, path in the middle of the road where the grass is growing up through. And here again, there's scooters and street bikes, and they're cool with it. I mean, they're riding everywhere we're riding, and for them, it's just another day. For me, it's a vacation. It's an adventure. So I guess everything's relative. And a lot of times we worry about things here that are simply not important and just not big picture. That's a big lesson that I took away from this trip, is worry about what you can control. So another thing I've noticed, and this is very common there, as you'll see, there are wild dogs pretty much everywhere. And I guess some of them are tame, some of them are pets, but it's a lot like the way that we have cats roaming around in certain parts of the neighborhoods. You know, that's a normal thing with dogs in the Philippines. There are lots of wild dogs just kind of living on their own and eating what they can eat. It's just another painful lesson that, you know, not everything is the way it is in the United States, in the modernized world. Everywhere else, there's a lot of places that, you know, these dogs are obviously not anyone's pets, so they're not neutered or spayed, and they're just left to reproduce and kind of run free, and there's really nothing done about it. Kind of a shame. When I went to the second trip, I actually went to the beach quite a lot, and I saw this quite often, and there would just be wild dogs kind of roaming around on the beaches and kind of laying in the sun, and you never want to pet them because they could have rabies, and B, they could bite you anyway, just because they don't trust necessarily everyone, just like a stray cat wouldn't necessarily trust you depending on what it's experienced. Pretty common to come through after riding through the jungles, and all of a sudden you come through to a small town or just an area that people have carved out for themselves, and here some kids yell idle, just like I talked about in the first video as we pass by. And again, I want to tell them they're more of a hero, more of an idol than I am. Their daily life the things they go through in one day, they just crush anything that I have to do on a daily basis. These kids look up to the things they see on the roads. They look up to the massive dirt bikes and the amazing things, just like we looked up to the firefighters and the monster trucks and the airplanes and the amazing feats of technology and awesome things that human beings have conquered and accomplished. Kids look up to these things, but I'll be honest, I didn't feel worthy of these kids and what they're going through, but I am glad that a small part of their day they got excited to see somebody that they don't normally see wearing crazy fluorescent yellow motorcycle gear and riding around, for leisure and for an adventure, while they do what they're doing just to survive, whether it's going to school, trying to get an education, a better life for themselves, or honestly, they may be just going to get food in some way and trying to survive, literally. And it both breaks my heart and makes me extremely happy that I was a part of that and that I could experience that. And if you have not had the opportunity to go somewhere else out of your comfort zone, once again, I highly recommend do this while you can. It is a life-changing experience.